So we are going to do a little tasting, but we're going to do a little, you wanted to point out something.
I want to point out something, because we kind of touched on sugar, and you mentioned El Dorado
Right.
cocktails, your mother's favorite way to do dessert, sounds like.
Yeah.
And so there's this tension in the rum world right now, and we kind of talked about some of the haziness of the regulations. This is kind of probably the biggest sticking point if you're looking at rum aficionados,
Okay.
where things are today. Now, I want to set something straight. There are people that think that if you add anything to your rum, you're ruining the rum.
Oh.
I vehemently disagree.
Okay, so like what would you add to,
Yeah.
like any mixer or during the process?
Sweetener particularly is what we're talking about.
Okay.
Here. So there are people, there's actually websites that you can go on and go do this so you can learn more, which is great. I just think people, well, let me mention this. There's people on these websites that will use what's called a hydrometer, which measures the alcohol density in the liquid.
Okay.
Which chemists out there, I'm sorry, I didn't say that right, I'm sure. But there's people that are out there, particularly in the rum world, that measure the alcohol density in a rum,
Okay.
and from that kind of deduce the amount of sugar that's been added. Because rums don't have to, outside of Martinique, which you cannot add sugar to a Martinique AOC rum. In other areas, in other territories, you can.
Okay.
Especially something like Guyana. So I want to pour these two side by side for you. What I was going to say is, if you're looking at those rum websites that have those hydrometer ratings, and you're seeing a rum has, typically they say 0 to 5, they say GL, grams per liter. Typically, if you're looking at 0 to 5 GL, you're looking at rums that have no sugar added. If you're looking at rums that have more than 5, and particularly when they're getting up over 10, 15, you can see rums that are up in the 30, 40, even 50 GL ratings. Now, at some point, I like to say, it's almost like salting your food. If you can taste the salt, it's gone too far. And so I'm going to taste these alongside with you as well. I've always obviously had these. I'm not going to talk too much about them, but I want you to taste the two rums kind of side by side. And I'll tell you, these are both Guyana rums, which we just talked about. There's only one distillery.
One distillery.
That doesn't mean they just make one rum. They make many different styles of rum, but they just sell that rum to the different labels.
Sure. Okay.
Same thing happens in multiple different. Costa Rica does the same thing. There's other places. I know when you go to more state-run, like Venezuela, it's going to be kind of the same idea.
So they look a little bit, the color and...
They do look pretty similar, don't they? For just looking, and it's going to be hard to tell on the camera there, but they're both, what you call them, maybe a deep amber, almost mahogany kind of color. Give them a little swirl, side by side, and just look and see, look at the legs.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not going to go full on into, wine training with the legs or anything like that. But does one have more legs than the other?
Yes.
Which one? The one on the right? I think as I'm looking at it, the one on the left runs. There's more legs, as in like the actual number of legs that I can count.
Yes, you're right.
But they run faster and they run thinner.
This one seems to hang on. The right.
Yeah, hangs on a little bit.
Are right.
And I'll tell you, we've got an 86 proof rum on the left and an 80 proof rum on the right.
Huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, so pretty close. It's not going to be a huge difference in alcohol rate. So when we kind of get into the one on the left, starting off from the nose, what kind of flavors do you get right on the nose?
Oh,
We're not getting too technical or anything.
Yeah. Well, definitely get a slight bit of banana in a way, a little bit of the
absolutely. Like overripe, like dark, almost
or
banana
like
bread
bananas
bananas.
Fostas.
Yeah.
Bananas Foster type of thing.
Yeah.
Like a cooked.
Yeah, and you may even get like a.
But not over. It's not over because I've smelled other ones that are.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. But I think you do get maybe a touch of flambéed character to that.
Yes.
A touch of smoke.
That's what I'm. Yeah. Exactly.
Which is very typical on your dimmer rums. Okay. What would you call this? Kind of a complex rum, a deep rum, or very light, very straightforward, very surface level?
Well, I mean, it's. I think I've had more aromas that are more complex. But this one definitely has a little bit of.
Well, can you pull out? I mean, just simply. I mean, the banana jumps
Yeah.
out, the smoke jumps out, but do you get a lot of other flavors? I think I do. I get a lot of
Well,
wood
I get
flavors.
I get
a lot
some.
of oak.
I get a little bit of that oak, the wood, the
Mhm.
kind of like a toasted wood,
Yeah.
and then maybe some dried fruits in there.
Yeah.
Like definitely a little dried fruit.
Maybe like a mango.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even like apricots, tree fruits,
Yep. Mhm.
apples. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't know if I get apples, but I do definitely get the kind of like the dried fruit, especially the apricot,
Okay. Yeah,
especially
yeah.
apricot.
Anyway, so now we take that and give it just a little taste.
Mm. Right away, the little right in the beginning, you got the sweet notes, but then the heat just kind of envelops
Yeah.
all the way back.
I wouldn't necessarily call this a hot rum.
No, it's a nice.
You can certainly look at a Navy strength of 114
Yeah.
proof, or I left the 151 proof in the.
No,
in the
this
bag
is
for you
this
today.
is this is a nice gentle
It's a warmth.
warmth. Okay, warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get some spices now.
Hmm.
And you get, but it's not spiced rum by any means. There's actually no
Yeah.
adulteration on this rum at all, aside from the color. That second sip, you maybe get some more of that spice now.
I do get a little bit more cinnamon in the kind of mid palate,
Yeah.
finishing off a little bit more of a drier finish.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
Okay,
So
good.
so just to compare, going
Okay.
to the second one, which again we know is from the same distiller. On the
Oh
nose,
wow, definitely a different. Really heavy on that baked.
bananas,
bananas
Foster. It's
Foster.
now like
Now
almost
that's
like
big.
banana creme brulee. now, like
Yes.
super sweet.
Creme brulee.
Yeah.
Creme brulee.
Sounds great actually.
That
like
really-
with the
yeah.
cracked sugar on top. Oh man.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, right away, the 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 palate is a little bit more coated than
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
So really, just kind of like, but then it just kind of goes away.
Yeah.
It doesn't hang around.
Right.
I don't know the consistency. More like a buttermilk,
Mhm.
like almost like a whole milk. I don't drink dairy anymore, so from what
Yeah.
I remember,
Well, and I think it's not quite a thickness of a custard
yeah,
quality. It doesn't feel like that, but it does kind of carry that same kind of mouth coating kind of feel.
Okay.
It does feel rich and round.
it does. It's beautiful. What a difference! Just from
Right.
the same distillery, but made two
Same
different.
distillery, but this is actually the same rum, the rum pull, if you will, the same mash of rum. They're buying from the same.
So are these
batch.
aged at all?
They're both mildly aged.
Okay.
They both spend time in oak, but it's mild, 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I
Yeah.
think for me, I mean, I really like this one. This one's beautiful, but I don't know if I can drink it all the time because of the thickness, because of
Yeah.
how it leaves
Yeah.
kind of like this one. If I could definitely, it's to me, it's more of a whiskey or I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
sugary.
Yeah.
It's more whiskey like.
And that's exactly the point that I wanted to get to
Oh.
right there. So, because kind of on this little bit of a rant about the sugar,
Okay.
you're looking at one that has no sugar,
Oh, okay.
only some caramel color added to get to that color
That color.
consistency.
Okay.
And that's that's a totally non-sweet coloring.
Wow.
Totally natural coloring. I'm not making it sound like they're doing yellow number 5 or anything
Sure.
in there. Not that I want to speak poorly of that. I'm going to get somebody coming after me for that. But it's just simply that natural sugar coloring, right?
Mhm.
This one does have sugar added back in. So after distillation, there's the same coloring that goes into this
Right.
one. After distillation, they're adding that sugar in there as well.
Okay.
And so if you dig down deep, especially on the nose, you probably get some very clear similarities on the flavors. You can tell they're the same. They're
Mhm.
from the same place.
This one has just more. It's more emphasized on the
Right.
lighter notes of this one.
Right.
So whereas
Yeah.
this is Bananas Foster, a little bit on the end, This is full blown to me, more of that.
Yeah.
That what we were also talking. Which one were we also talking about? Creme brulee.
The creme brulee.
It's very
yeah.
that very creamy.
Yeah. It's the
Toasted,
sweetness.
yeah.
It's that toasted. It's that flambéed sweetness.
Yeah.
That's coming through from there.
Delightful.
To me, I think that's a great example. Yeah, you said it. They're both delightful. They're both really
Yeah.
beautiful rums. Now, if I'm going to go make a cocktail, I want to think
Okay.
about what kind of cocktail I'm going to make.
So what cocktails would you make with these?
Well, I have so many that I maybe
Okay.
want to go with.
So,
I'd probably
so for the average
start-
person who was like, oh, I want to try one of these
Yeah.
to level up my
Yeah.
rum. So if we were at the store at
Okay.
Coltrane, Wine and Spirits, we would say, oh, well, you could do these cocktails or these 3 cocktails
Yeah.
with them. I know,
These,
it's simple.
this to me, Demerara is the do everything rum.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't do a simple classic like a daiquiri with these
Okay.
because I want a lighter rum, and I want something that's got more bite and almost tenacity in a
Okay.
daiquiri. But if I'm going to do anything with a yellow or an orange juice, whether it's pineapple, orange, guava, mango, anything like that.
Okay.
Passion fruit, I know that's not any of those colors, it's pink, but still, same idea. If I'm going to do anything with those kind of juice colors, I want to get that smoky brown sugar kind of flavors
Okay.
coming out of either one of these. Now, if I'm going to choose one or the other on this, I'm going to remember that this one has a little sugar in it.
Sure.
So I'm not going to lean on my simple syrups and on my sweeter juices with this.
You don't need any more simple syrup because it's already
It's already somewhat there.
pre-made done.
If I'm going to do an old fashioned with this, I might add a little bit more sugar just to get that depth. But I'm going to concentrate on the bitters
Okay.
with this, which I do think Guianas make terrific old fashions.
Perfect. So an old fashioned with a Guyana rum.
Absolutely.
And you can do with both of them. One, you
Mhm.
would just might add a little bit more of the
Yeah.
like a Demerara syrup, simple syrup,
Right.
and
Very
this
good.
one you would add a little bit more bitters than the syrup.
Yeah.
because
Just to
it's already
create that balance.
balanced.
Just
Okay.
to create that balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, does that
Right.
kind of show you
Yes.
like where that divide in the rum world
Yes.
is?
Very
It's-
much so.
So now when you can kind of look at, if you're looking at a Jamaica, you're not going to get a Jamaican rum that has sugar. They've all kind of agreed that they're not going to add any sugar to it.
Okay.
So this plantation Jamaica, which was San Francisco's best rum this year, 2020, this is Plantation's only product where they don't add any sugar. Now, however, they do take this Jamaica rum, medium to high ester rum, and they put it into cognac barrels. They allow that seasoning in the cognac barrels after aging in the bourbon barrels to give a different flavor, different character.
So somebody who is a whiskey, let's say a whiskey lover, this would be something that they would
This may be.
transition in if they're not familiar
Well,
with rums.
We typically talk about the Barbados 5-year as
It's
the
fantastic.
perfect transition
Mhm.
for whiskey lovers. There is some sweetness to this one. Now, I think they even tell you on the bottle. I think it's about 18 grams per liter. The beautiful thing about Plantation, I get a lot of negative words online sometimes from rum purists. Nobody that's not a rum purist has a negative thing to say about Plantation's practices.
Right.
I'll tell you that first and foremost. But if you go to Plantation's website, you can find out all of those geeky stats that you
Sure.
ever want to know about any one of their rums, whether if it's the special dry, which is 100% dry, or whether it's this that has a certain amount of sugar added, but again, it's like seasoning, it's like salt. If you add it in and you can't taste the sugar,
Right.
you're still adding balance and character to your rum. If you're adding it in and all you taste is sugar coming in, well, you've probably gone too far.
Sure. That
You're
makes
no
sense.
longer making something that's highlighting the product of the distillery and the cask and the aging, and you're now creating something that's highlighting the sweetness that you're adding.
Got it. All right.
Yeah.
And this is the one that I actually started on. My first introduction to a rum that wasn't, bottom shelf or like a spiced rum, which to me, I just didn't like. It was too sweet and but I was more kind of like whiskey, and this was a great nod to me starting into the rum world, which I'm still, obviously I'm so beginning at this. So, yeah, if you're interested in doing something and trying something, if you're a whiskey person, this is a great introduction into the rums.
And not expensive either. About
It's
$25 most places.
Yeah, you're not going to spend
Yeah.
top dollar for this.
Right.
But it's still good quality.
Good quality rum that you can get into, 5-year-old rum.
Yeah, perfect. This was great. Anything else you would like to say?
Oh, I can sit here and talk about rum all day, but I don't think that's what you want me here for.
Is there anything else on over there that we need to talk about?
I mean, we can talk a little bit. I'll just mention briefly. We're kind of talking about reading a label, right? And so
Let's read a label.
all these different label stuff. Again, look first and foremost to your country of origin. And something like Neisson, you can also look at Rum JM or Rum Clément, or you can look at La Favorite. And I think there's about a dozen or so, maybe a few less, distilleries on Martinique. If you're looking at Martinique, there's no additives. Okay, you just know that straight up.
No additives in Martinique.
The other thing in Martinique, if it's a white Martinique, a clear Martinique, agricole blanc, as they say on this one, and that is unaged. Now, the difference, and Leslie, I'm just going to have you smell these two.
Okay.
And if you want to taste, we can taste. But just smelling the difference between the two. Same exact juice, both 50% alcohol.
Wow.
That difference shows you the difference of what
Wow.
happens when you allow
Okay.
the spirit to rest and age.
Jeez. Oh, I can't wait to try these.
Well, they're fantastic rums. Absolutely beautiful rums. But
Yeah.
on your white, you get a lot of green.
Okay.
Green vegetables, almost get like a asparagus kind of flavor.
Okay, we're gonna have to try these.
Okay.
Because I'm just gonna here.
Let's taste.
Let's taste.
Let's taste. So, the Neisson Blanc.
Okay.
Just give that a little taste. You see just how different the agricoles can be. Now, agricoles aren't just from Martinique as you're experiencing that. You can get agricoles. Actually, Japan has a very lively agricole culture.
Really?
Australia. There's some other Southeast Asia and oceanic places that are doing agricole. But any of your traditionally French countries, so Haiti or Guadeloupe, I'm sure there's many others, typically you're going to get this style of rum. This is the rum that was preferred in the French colonial empire.
That's definitely a sipper.
Isn't that
That's
gorgeous?
Wow.
Beautiful.
And you
The-
can just do this. You don't have to have anything with this.
No.
This is. It's really. It's not. I mean, you're not getting any aging, of course. You're not getting the complexity of some of those things, but you. But then there is a little
you get
bit
a totally
of
different kind of complexity.
God. Okay.
You get an intensity of flavor. And then go ahead and pour the Vieux Reserve, if you will, the Old Reserve.
So the old reserve is. How long is it?
This one is I think it's an average age of 7 years. Again, you don't put a number on it. You don't have to, declare how long it is. And in most places, I think the Americans get obsessed with
Numbers.
age statements.
Yeah.
Honestly, when it's right, it's right. That's kind of what you're looking for. And then you may blend a 4-year-old with an 8-year-old, or a 4-year-old with a 10-year-old, or a 5 and a 9, or however really makes the most sense for the blend that you're trying to create. And this is one of my absolute favorite sippers that's in my liquor shelf at my house.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. This is a good one for a whiskey lover,
Sure.
or even a Scotch lover. I mean,
because you get the depth.
you really do get that
complexity,
depth. Mm-hmm.
and there's no sweetness to it.
Mm-mm.
It's funny. I think there's a little bit more sweetness to this one. It's more of like a vanilla.
This one has. This one obviously has because it's just rounder. It's just.
Yeah.
It's really.
It's soft.
But both
it's
of them
okay.
are wonderful.
Yeah. I think you shift from those green flavors here to more floral flavors here.
You can see there's very little left on this one.
Yeah, don't judge me.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
Alright,
these
perfect.
cocktails, I'll just mention real quick, are these rums. The most famous cocktail in Martinique is called a tea punch, a T-I punch.
Okay.
A tea punch is just simply lime and sugar. But it's not in your typical 2-1-1 ratios of daiquiri. Typically,
Okay.
you're doing, a cup of this with a couple squeeze of limes and
Alright.
just a touch of sugar. And you can even leave the sugar out altogether.
So if anybody wants to do that, just called the tea punch.
Tea punch.
So cup of this and how many limes?
Yeah, a couple limes.
A couple limes, and you've got your
No rules,
simple,
this is
easy
rum, right?
cocktail.
Yeah.
All right. I think this was fun, and we're going to do some tiki cocktails soon. So keep watching, and looking for that video. And thank you, Cork and Cask, for letting us use this amazing bar. And we will also post that. Cork and Cask is also in Colorado Springs. It's not in like Timbuktu, so it's here in Colorado Springs.
And
where
anybody
we are.
on the Front Range, if you're looking for
Yep.
a great place to try a lot of different whiskeys.
Great.
I think they're up over 300 whiskeys
One of
now at
the
this point.
one of the top places to get whiskeys of any price point.
Yeah.
All allocated. A lot of the allocated ones are here. So please come down to Cork and Cask in Colorado Springs, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.